Hey, so today we have the Fujifilm X-T5 once again, and I thought today it'd be interesting to maybe just take a look through the menu system to see what differs from maybe the cameras that you previously have. If you have an X-T4, X-T3, X-T2. Let's see how the X-T5 looks as we go through the menu system. Okay, so let's start with image quality. Firstly is the image sizes. The S's refer to small, M for medium, and then L for large, but all the rest of the numbers are going to be similar throughout those bunch. So we can see we've got a 3:2 ratio, 16:9, a 1:1 ratio, 4:3, and a 5:4. And we can see all those are different megapixels if you take a look at the bottom of the screen there. Hopefully that should be in focus. So the highest amount you're getting is the full sensor kind of readout there, 3:2, 16:9 is dropping down to 34 from 40, 27 megapixels in a 1:1 ratio, 35 megapixels in a 4:3, and 33 megapixels in a 5:4. And the others will drop down as well accordingly to their size. Okay, let's step out of this and go to another menu. So next we have the image quality, fine, normal, fine and raw, normal and raw, or just raw. We have raw recording, we can have uncompressed, lossless compressed, or compressed. And of course now we have our film simulations. Let's just go through those briefly. At the moment we're on Nostalgic Neg, which is a newer one. And we'll start from the start as normal. So we've got Provia, Velvia, Astia, Classic Chrome there, Pro Negative High, Pro Negative Standard, Classic Neg, Nostalgic Neg, Eterna Cinema, Eterna Bleach Bypassed, which is another form of the Eterna Cinema, and then we've got the Acros series here. Grain effect, color chrome effect, and we have a color chrome FX blue. Smooth skin effect. For me personally, that's something new that I haven't noticed previously. White balance we can obviously change. Dynamic range. Let's see if there's any new settings inside this one. So now we have the normal. We have auto, 100, 200%, and 400%. Then we have dynamic range priority. Weak, strong, auto, or off. Of course, we can adjust our tone curves like previous cameras. Sharpness. High ISO noise reduction, clarity here, long exposure. So we've got lens modulation optimizer. That should be an on or an off switch on that one. In terms of color space, I think we just normally have the two. So we've got sRGB and Adobe RGB. It'd be great maybe to start to get new color spaces inside of this for video purposes, but maybe that might be in there when we switch over to the movie mode. Let's do that briefly and see what happens, see if it changes. Let's just go back, switch over to movie mode, go to the menu. I think it was in image quality, wasn't we? Let's head down. Doesn't really give us the options there. But I'm guessing it's dependent on whatever format you're using. If you're using a log format, that's obviously going to be the Rec 2020, I believe. If you're using a standard picture profile, it'll automatically be a Rec 709. If that makes any sense to you. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. We've got pixel mapping. You can edit and save custom settings, the updates, and that brings us out of image quality. Let's move on to the autofocus and see what's there. So autofocus mode, we have our modes here. We can obviously set our custom modes, which you're all very familiar with. So we can store that. And I'm just going to briefly go through these. If any of them stand out to me, I will kind of pull up on those for you. You've got pre-AF, that's either on or off switch. It's cool. So these are the subjects that you can track: animal, bird, automobile, motorcycle and bike, airplane, train. I would like to see that in action. I haven't actually tested that out on the Fujifilms. Be quite interesting to see that. So we have our normal manual focus assist here, focus peaking. In terms of the colors, they're all the same as previously, nothing updated. Okay, so we're going to the shooting drive modes now. So look at that. Got the drive settings, sorry, here. So this is interesting. So we can get up to 20 frames per second here. But as you can see, that's cropping the actual image by 1.29 times crop. That's already on the 1.5 times crop of the sensor itself. 13 frames per second is doing the same thing. 10 frames per second is doing the same thing as well. And if we use the speed continuous shooting, okay, so that's interesting. I was just wondering why here at 10 frames per second we have a crop, but this one doesn't seem to indicate a crop. It's a little bit confusing. I'm sure you guys in the comments will let me know what's going on there. And I'm just going to slowly scroll through these so you can see what the settings are like and how they differ from your camera. It might be smart to also get your camera out now as well, and we'll go through together. So we're on page 1 of the shooting settings, about to move on to page 2. Now it's always interesting to take a look at what settings we now have for the movie modes. So at the moment we have 4K HQ 16:9. So I'll say it's a high quality 4K movie mode with a 6.2K oversampling. Crazy. In terms of the frame rates, it looks like we can max out in this setting at 29.97, basically 30 frames per second. So you can see it maxes out here 240 frames per second on the slow motion, which is pretty incredible. And these are all the options that we get of how we can store these onto the cards. Okay, so that was kind of a quick look through of the settings built into the Fuji X-T5. Maybe you've found some differences from your particular camera or some similarities. Hope you enjoyed it, and stick around for more.